What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Battle of Central Europe Season 3. We are still in the losers bracket, where Komanda Minus are going up against mYinsanity in a best of 3. Currently, Komanda Minus 1-0 up in the series, and once again, we see Phoenix being banned out. So sad. But anyway, I'm Mike Loris. I'm joined by Grandis for this best of 3, and that game was pretty brutal. What do you think mYinsanity have to change?
I'm really not sure. I think they just need to make sure that all of their lanes are a little bit more solid, maybe more directly approach the enemy draft instead of just looking for synergy between themselves. It felt like they just kind of had a normal faceless void centered lineup, which I thought would do a lot better up against the Draw Ranger lineup of Komanda Minus. And honestly, maybe they need to pull something out of the hat, just go for something ridiculous and really smashy early on. I think right now is a decent time to pull out the stops. mYinsanity are on the brink of elimination.
Yeah, so this is pretty much the time to do so if they have anything. Unfortunately, it seems like they don't have anyone who's comfortable playing Phoenix, or they're not comfortable playing Phoenix, which would have been probably like the best Hail Mary you could throw in this patch. Like, hey, a new hero's just added. The enemy side probably isn't too familiar with him. If we have someone who can play him, that's going to represent their best chance. And even Mitch has like a freaking Charizard picture. Like, he should be able to play a Phoenix.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I don't know. I would have loved to see them pull out that Phoenix, but I think this is the spot where we're going to see Phoenix all day. Or at least I suppose this is the only series we're doing, so we are going to see him maybe banned out in all of the games if Game 3 is necessary, and hopefully for mYinsanity it is. They start things off with an Earthshaker, which is a pretty stable way to start out a lineup, but maybe they're looking to pick up the other new hero that was just added and get the Broodmother.
Broodmother is, well, certainly a hero that has been in the scene for a very long time until she was, cut for a little while, but still, it is a hero that I'm sure Komanda Minus have played against before. When she was, one of the most dominant heroes in the game, you would always see her, even first pick. That was closer to TI 1 and 2, though, so that was a hell of a long time ago. It is a possibility, but really when you do that, you just want to make sure that you have detection. You want to make sure that you have AoE clearing. If you have that, then it pretty much can't really be countered any way else.
Yeah, but I mean, right now, Broodmother Lycan push could be, there could be something in that for either team. We'll just have to see. I doubt we're going to see Broodmother's ugly face. I don't know, it's just such a constricting pick. It pretty much forces you, at least one of your lanes, to play in a specific style, and it's very predictable, even though Broodmother does it well. The enemy team knows exactly what you're planning. Vengeful Spirit, the Joyster, Komanda Minus. All four of these heroes, Brewmaster, Venge, Earthshaker, and Scarth Mage, are hardly ever bad. They offer some really nice tools, and Komanda Minus, banning out the Meepo. I think this is actually a pretty decent Meepo game, to be fair. Especially if they pick up the Earthshaker. Maybe they were even planning on going for it.
It is a lizard hero, if I'm not mistaken. So,
oh yes,
mYinsanity do have someone who is extremely capable of playing that Meepo. So yeah, I think this is a pretty nice ban from Komanda Minus. I mean, Vengeful Spirit, Brewmaster, they're both okay at dealing with Meepo, but they're certainly not exactly on the top of that chart. So I think the ban makes sense, and so it is going to be Komanda Minus as well as mYinsanity picking up very safe heroes. Like you said, you can very rarely go wrong. mYinsanity already have all of their supports up. You could play these guys pretty aggressively, or Shaker, one of the best defensive heroes in the game. You could also run like that if you want to. So it's just going to be the next couple picks where we are going to see a strategy shape up. There aren't that many huge powerhouse heroes left in the game, however, as far as, top tier picks. So they're going to have to go a little bit less than that, maybe towards something like a Tidehunter, who's actually still in the pool.
Yeah, and I think that's a fair choice. Ban out the Centaur, pick up the Tide, something along those lines. Komanda Minus still have a lot of room to grow inside their lineup as well. They have defensive swaps up against Earthshaker and Scarth Mage. Can be really important, especially if like the Fissure blocks them on the right side of the Fissure, and then you can swap the Vengeful Spirit and pretty much ensuring the Venge is dying, but that Fissure could work for you as long as you get your carry out to safety. So, I don't know, there's some decent synergies between Vengeful Spirit and the two heroes that mYinsanity have picked. But for now, it's mYi's turn to think about this next choice. And this is usually the point in the draft that takes the longest for teams, just this last ban into the pick.
I'm inclined to think they are wrestling with the fact that, well, I'm not right anymore, but I was going to say, I think they're probably wrestling with the Centaur versus Tidehunter conundrum that you presented earlier. It seems like that was not the issue whatsoever. and it was going to be a Dazzle ban that they landed on. Nothing that Komanda Minus have really screams we're going to need a Dazzle. I suppose it was a possibility, but I don't know, it definitely doesn't make as much sense as the Meepo. But hey, when you pick up a Doom, then the Dazzle pick makes a little more sense.
Yeah, the sustain and making sure that they don't die to the Dazzles to the Doom is always nice, but Komanda Minus, second verse, same as the first, they're going to go for a Draw Ranger, and I doubt mYinsanity are going to pick up a Visage, and if they do, I think that's going to hurt their draft more than it's going to help Komanda Minus, and this is really scary. They're going to have Venge, Draw Ranger, and Visage if they want to pick it up, which is the ideal tri-lane and supporting duo for an aggressive Draw Ranger style of play, and maybe Game 2 is just going to be the same story as what we saw in Game number 1.
The difference here for Komanda Minus is that they actually have a tankier hero, and mYinsanity, they are going to go for that Visage as a block pick for Komanda Minus. Visage is always going to be a strong hero, especially if you put him in a 3v3 scenario, or if he's up against 3 heroes in any way, then he's going to be very powerful. Now we have a situation for mYinsanity where they have 3 quote-unquote support heroes. One of them has to take a core. Who do you think it's going to be?
I would like to see them give the core farm to the Visage to get an earlier Aghanims, but if they don't want to do that, and the mid matchup is decent for the Earthshaker, giving Earthshaker mid and safely farming the Doom could also be an option. If it's up against Brewmaster, I think that's a doable lane to get Earthshaker a pretty fast blink, and maybe it's time to bring the Core Shaker out. Up against a Draw Ranger, I think that's a pretty solid hero.
Right, and this time mYinsanity, they didn't have many great heroes at dealing with Draw Ranger in the last game. Ember Spirit was really the only one that I would say is an applicable counter. Now they have a long-range stun and Earthshaker. They have Familiars who are really great at just messing with the Draw Ranger, and they have a Doom. If you get a Blink Dagger on the Doom, then Draw Ranger is going to be very sad. Brewmaster is also going to be very sad about that. So mYinsanity, they're still not really prepared to deal with this Draw Ranger, but I think they're slightly more prepared than last game.
Yeah, let's see where Komanda Minus are going to take this. It's pretty obvious that they wanted the Visage, or at least that would be the plan. They're going to go for a Wind Ranger. I am hoping to be impressed. Apparently, Kekkone's Wind Ranger is something to behold, and with that extra damage from Draw Ranger, Focus Fire is going to be hitting like a truck.
Oh man, from what I've seen of Kekkone's like 2 games of Wind Ranger, or maybe just 1 game, let's just say that 1 game was normal and not an exception to the rule. It was absolutely disgusting. So Komanda Minus, they have their 3 cores, I'm assuming Wind Ranger, Draw Ranger, Brewmaster. Brewmaster as an offlane hero typically just gets completely destroyed, but with this much power on the other heroes, I think Komanda Minus are going to be slightly okay with having 1 weak link in the chain.
Yeah, especially when Brewmaster is going up against a Doomshaker Scarith mage lane, it's going to be annoying for sure. But as long as he keeps his distance and has a lot of regen to deal with the Arcane Bolts, it's survivable, and he should be able to get at least some levels, better than a support Brewmaster, I suppose. But there is always the option Komanda Minus could go aggressive with the Wind Ranger. That could also be an option. Throw Brewmaster mid, solo safe lane Draw, or vice versa, and then just look for a little bit more damage. And the Ancient Apparition would have been my first choice if they want to go for that.
Yeah, great hero versus Doom, denying all of that Scorched Earth healing, and well, if mYinsanity want to go for a mech on one of these heroes, which doesn't seem likely, it would also be blocked out, but at the bare minimum, it's a range hero, and that's what you have to be careful about if you are going up against this Komanda Minus lineup. It looks like, to me, that Komanda Minus need 1 more support hero that is going to ideally be ranged. They honestly don't have to pick up a ranged hero, though. I mean, it will not get the full value out of the aura, but still, Wind Ranger, Draw Ranger, Venge with the aura seems pretty good.
Yeah, and I think that's completely acceptable. Although I don't think there's any reason to avoid going for range. I think you just pick up a support as per normal. And Rubik's looking pretty good here. There's a decent amount of spells to steal. He can get his hands on Fissure fairly easily. And if you get your hands on Doom or Visage Familiars even, that could completely give them the synergy towards themselves to have that extra familiar damage with the Precision Aura. I doubt that's going to happen, but in the middle of a team fight, some Visage players like to split push with their birds and then summon them in the middle of it, and there is an opening there.
And if none of that even happens, a Rubik with Null Field is going to shut down so much of the mYinsanity damage. Komanda Minus, again, kind of on the softer side of lineups, that any sort of durability that they can get is going to be much, much needed. Dazzle would have been a fantastic pickup here for Komanda Minus, so mYinsanity, I suppose, just seeing a little bit into the future and preparing for it. And, well, now mYinsanity, they're going to have to make a pick as well. They're going to need someone, I think just Slark here seems pretty good, but it's instead going to be a Queen.
Wow, okay, so this is not the direction I was expecting mYinsanity go in at all, really. It's going to be a decent hero to jump in, burst down the Drow Ranger, and get out. But Komanda Minus, they have a decent amount of disable for this Queen of Pain. Excuse me, with the Drow Ranger's Gust, Magic Missile, Shackle. If that latches, Queen of Pain's going to be dropped down so fast. She doesn't have HP to survive up against Komanda Minus's lineup, and although you'd really like to get an Orchid or Ags to start the snowball, I think Orchid this game would be Queen of Pain's ideal choice. BKB might just be a necessity. I'm not sure if she can really deal with the silence coming up for Drow Ranger especially.
Yeah, so I think she is going to need to go for BKB at some point this game, and I guess at the very least they have some minor synergies here with the Scarith Mage Seal. It's going to be amplifying some very hard-hitting skills, and as I said before, Komanda Minus already very soft, so maybe they're just going to go down the burst route. Brewmaster should be the target of Doom, if not an Ancient Seal, so, I mean, mYinsanity are kind of prepared for that if they just are easily able to burst down the more softer archer heroes of Komanda Minus, then this Queen of Pain can very easily work out, but last pick for Komanda Minus is going to be a very safe one. It's going to be that Lich, so again, it's another one of those heroes, much like the Brew, Shaker, Scarith, Mage, Venge, you can never really go wrong with.
Yeah, I would have liked to see the Rubik a little bit more here. I think he'd just offer more utility in the instant disable coming out from Lift in the future. But to each his own. Lich is going to give them some, I don't know, just lane dominance, or just ensuring that they're able to get something out of these lanes. Yeah, it is going to harm their aggressive potential a little bit. Vengeful Spirit +1 definitely can roam, but when that +1's a Lich, it's fairly unlikely. That said, we're going to get into this game. Let's see if mYinsanity are going to be able to come back into this. They are on the brink of elimination. This is the lower bracket, and we are going to see Joey playing on the Doom Yes piece on the Supporter Shaker, and Lizard also going to be taking up the Visage. It looks like all eyes on me is going mid on the Scarith Mage, leaving last but not least Queen of Pain by Mitch, looking towards the off lane even.
Well, I mean, it was either that or you run an aggressive tri-lane up there, which, well, dual lanes, actually. So that's going to be dual lanes. On Komanda Minus, we have Kikoni, who's going to be playing the Wind Ranger with a lot of stats in their loadout. Poison is going to be supporting as the Lich. Insolent is once again going to be taking the Drow Ranger with Hawkeye on the Brewmaster and Pure Evil on the Vengeful Spirit. I don't expect the lanes that we see right on the minimap right now to be the lanes that we end up with. But yeah, after a little bit of shuffling and whatnot, it is at the very least going to be a mid lane Scarith Mage. And though he is capable of putting out a hell of a lot of damage, he's also very, very soft. You said that Lich, Vengeful Spirit can't really gank that well. They can't really gank most heroes that well, but hell, anyone can gank a Scarith Mage well.
Fair enough. He is a pretty swift hero, and if the positioning's there for all eyes on me, maybe he can survive, but if a disable connects, Frostblast or Magic Missile, it doesn't matter, he's gone. Because that's pretty much just going to chunk him down to less than half HP. Just between those two skills, and then subsequent right clicks are going to hit incredibly hard. Yes piece as well as Mitch going to be sitting on the first rune, and it is going to spawn in their favor. Doom getting the bounty, and yes please, going to secure a haste rune, although not now. Is going to sit on this. Maybe there's a first blood opening, but this has been spotted out by a dire ward, so they're not going to be surprised at all.
Yeah, but even though that is the case, it looks like it is just going to be, well, more or less what we expected from Komanda Minus, with Hawkeye being left down on the bottom lane. It is going to once again be a tri-lane, a defensive tri-lane for this Drow Ranger, and this time it's up against a Shaker Queen of Pain combo. It's a much, much weaker lane for mYinsanity as compared to the last game, so I expect this Drow Ranger to be under very little amounts of pressure, if she's going to be pressured at all. Queen of Pain is going to be able to get a little bit of something sometimes, but not that much. Kikoni and All Eyes on Me already dueling up with the surprise Fisher. Kikoni is going to be first blood. He should have known that that Shaker was there, but thought that the power shot would land, and he's going to die.
Unfortunate for Kikoni, just getting a little too aggressive. Scarith Mage is going to be able to continuously salve up, getting to decent amounts of HP on top of it. And just the remainder of that haste rune, enough to secure it for mYinsanity. This game already off to a much better start than what we saw last. And Earthshaker is going to make his way up towards top, so it is just going to be dual lane, defending the Queen of Pain and making sure that she's able to get something. Right now, 2 CS on Mitch and already level 2. Queen of Pain should be able to blink pretty easily out from Komanda Minus's combination, as long as the Gust doesn't land from Drow Ranger. And at level 2, Insolent's not going to have that available, so she doesn't really have much to fear yet.
Bottom lane, Komanda Minus in the Hawkeye versus 2 matchup versus Doom and Visage. That's actually not too bad for the Brewmaster. Visage really excels when he has someone with a lot of burst who he could very easily fill up the soul assumption meter and then drop a really heavy nuke. Doom is not that type of hero. Like, all the damage that Doom is going to be able to put out is very sustained over time, and Brewmaster is even going to be able to dodge a little bit of that. So this is, again, a pretty weak lane for mYinsanity, and Hawkeye's definitely not going to have a hard time here, at least not as hard as we see Brewmasters sometimes having.
Yeah, and that's really good for Komanda minus. And one of the biggest issues I have with offlane Brewmaster is he doesn't get much out of laning phase. This game, it's going to be completely different. He's going to get level 6 at the comparable time to our mid solo heroes. Currently just a little bit less experience than the Wind Ranger, but not that much.
So we don't really see that many last hits and denies being acquired, mostly because everyone's trading hits so often. But at the end of the day, it is going to be Komanda minus with a slight lead in the CS, which can change at the drop of a hat. Kikoni over towards mid is taking a lot of harassment from All Eyes on Me, and that's really what Skywrath Mage is good at, just dumping damage onto you. Even as a support hero, he's played in the same way. But when you get extra levels, if you get a high-level Arcane Bolt, man, it doesn't really matter who you are going to be taking an absolute beating. Though Skywrath Mage isn't really keeping up with the last hits, he's still doing fine. It's going to be top lane where we're going to see a Magic Missile being thrown onto Mitch. Gust is not leveled up, so it's actually not possible for them to get that kill, but it will bring the Queen of Pain down very low.
Yeah, and now she's going to be forced out of the salve. If they do that again, she might be able to tango up and survive, but Queen of Pain's going to need to be careful, especially once we have that silence coming out from the Joe Ranger. Ideally, you'd land the silence first. I think that's a little bit harder to blink dodge from the Queen of Pain if you have to turn around and get the blink off. I'm not sure if it's really possible if it's well timed by the Joe Ranger. So we'll just have to see. I believe Insulet's going to get that at level 4. I think this is going to be a pretty similar build to last game, although this time without as many Wraith Bands.
Yeah, especially in this situation, like, you're up against the Queen of Pain. Gust is almost certainly going to be better than an extra point in Frost Arrows, unless you somehow catch a Shaker off guard, but Shaker's been playing things very, very defensively, like always either in the jungle or even in the river in order to keep himself safe. So Frost Arrows really good against our Shaker if you could actually land them, and I don't really think that's going to be the case. So far, not too much action aside from the kind of surprising first blood early on. There doesn't seem like there's going to be a huge trigger unless Kikoni gets jumped over towards mid. Has a bottle, but he's taking quite a beating from these bolts. He is going to survive, and now All Eyes on Me just needs one more bolt. Not quite going to do it. Windrun is going to let Kikoni take the kill. Man, bottle surfing at like 20 HP. That's extremely close, but he does get the kill, and he does survive.
Kikoni, after disappointing first blood, he's going to make up for that. Just, I don't know, barely surviving. Going to be Wind Ranger coming out ahead, and now level 5, almost level 6. Beating the Skywrath Mage in that department, mostly because of, I don't know, that last solo kill. Once you start out on the back foot, getting one of your own is all the much better.
Yeah, so Wind Ranger, very linearly scaling hero, is going to most likely just go for boots and then a boots upgrade, and maybe a Force Staff down the line, something along those lines. Nothing too huge, but she'll be able to apply a lot of pressure pretty much no matter where she goes, and she is going to, of course, get juiced up a little bit by the extra damage from Insolent, who has gone for that silence, by the way, at level 4. So now the door for kills on this top lane is open, and Mitch is actually not that healthy to start
All
things
Eyes on
out.
Me?
So
Shackled by Kikoni. He is silenced up, however, and can't get the Windrun off. Let's see if he's going to be able to snipe him off. There's Windrun to avoid a couple of hits, bottling up All Eyes on Me, is surviving for a little bit longer. Power shot lands, and Kikoni snags a clean one. That's 2-1 in the middle lane.
At the exact same time, Courier up on top lane, very close to death. But it was Komanda minus going pretty deeply against the mYinsanity side, so nothing happening for real on top, whereas it is going to be, in the end, just a kill. Once again, going for Kikoni versus the Skywrath Mage, and this is really where the Skywrath Mage Glass Cannon kind of shows through. He has 1 armor, not that much health, up against a Wind Ranger who has kind of high base damage with Precision Aura. Things are going to get very difficult when Skywrath Mage is not on the offensive.
That could have been a huge courier pickoff, however. That's the Midas recipe for the Doom. If that actually worked out for Komanda minus, that would have been amazing for them. But they still get something out of the map, so I mean, it's not really much lost. A little bit of regen.
Yeah, could be a lot better. Even if it's not going to happen, which it doesn't seem like it will. Doom with the Hand of Midas is still going to need a little bit of time. And even though he can get to a very dangerous stage where he's going to be running around and getting kills no matter where he goes, he's going to be the only one who's doing that on mYinsanity. Queen of Pain is getting a couple levels, but her farm really isn't there. Her potential for kills right now is very limited, and Skywrath Mage, already dying twice to the Wind Ranger, is pretty much in a similar situation. So Doom is going to be... he's going to have a lot of heavy lifting to do, let's say.
Yeah. Well, while we have a pause, I suppose we can take some time to appreciate the statues created by both teams. They're actually quite disappointing. Only one on either side. Witch Doctor for Komanda minus and a PA Arcana. No big surprises.
Okay, where are these statues things? I've seen so much stuff about them, and I have no idea where they are.
Like next to the Radiant Ancient and next to the Dire Ancient.
Oh, those things.
Yeah.
Okay.
If all of the members of their team had them, all of these little huts would have been replaced.
Man, these stupid buildings, man. They don't make any sense.
Nope, they do
And no
not.
inscription. These are boring. These guys really have to
Yeah,
work a little bit harder for these.
they definitely do. At least the Witch Doctor one has an inscription.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
It's like the Witch Doctor, like a one of which spell is it? I know I can hear the voice line. Is it? I think it might be Maledict.
Or it could just be a completely different language and you're fooling yourself into thinking that it's actually a witch doctor thing.
I'm actually going to look that up.
Yeah, please do. Just, for education purposes.
I mean, right now we're waiting for a pause, and there's not much better to do. We probably could analyze stuff, but I mean, it's much more interesting to look at Witch Doctor's voice lines.
It's a lot easier as well. I mean, there's not that much that's actually going on right now.
No, it's not a. It's actually not a spell. It's just a generic attacking animation.
Huh. That's actually really surprising that Valve would do that. Because that's a lot of words, letters to say.
It
No one
really
likes saying
is.
letters.
Yeah, I thought almost for sure it was a spell. I haven't heard it very much though. I suppose they don't play Witch Doctor, so yeah. There's also that.
Well, either way, it is 5 minutes into the game, and Doombringer, not surprisingly, is on the top of the net worth chart, though, experience gold at this point is still more or less in contention. It's pretty much just the momentum that Kokoni's getting on the mid lane that is going to be probably the most relevant thing. No real momentum on the other lanes. There is not quite yet up the Doom ultimate on Doom, and Hawkeye is about the same distance away from his ultimate. Once those two skills come up, then it's certainly possible for this game to just explode with action, and it's going to be Komanda Minus, who I think need a little bit more time with their Drow Ranger in order to very comfortably be able to fight those, but they will be able to decently fight those.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the hero to watch this game is Kokoni on the Wind Ranger. He might be able to make a whole lot of space and land the shackles, and he's done so pretty well in mid, just on the solo kills. But once he starts roaming around, gets the maxed out power shot and shackle shot, I think that's really the time to watch out for. Hopefully for Komanda Minus, this Wind Ranger is able to get off the ground. As a hero, it's either amazing or it's mediocre at best.
And it's going to remain to be seen, and as we unpause this game, let's see if anything actually is going to happen up towards top. Mitch does have a level 5 Queen of Pain, and there is a fissure to set up, so Insolent is, feeling pretty safe because she's right under the tower Drow Ranger, but we have rotation support coming in. It's going to be the core Skywrath Mage to put a lot more damage into the Drow Ranger, at the very least a silencer. Yeah, this is level 5 Skywrath Mage, so they're going to look for this dive. Insolent is in so much trouble right now, and Insolent's going to get the Gust onto Mitch, but the fissure will actually miss. Will it even matter, as Insolent is going to get blinked upon with the Scream. Insolent is now doomed to fall. Poison in the area can't really do too much, and it will be a clean kill going the way of mYinsanity. A much needed kill, just to break the kind of mold that has been forming.
Yeah. Doom down in bottom, going to be dove by the Brewmaster with his split. That's the first usage of it. It's going to be a pretty clean kill going his way. Since the Doom wasn't able to get the Doom off before Hawkeye gets off his ultimate, it is going to be him to come out with kill. Inside the mid lane, Kokoni's silenced up, will be repelled away from the Skywrath Mage. But yeah, up and top, even though that Fissure didn't get the stun off, which would have been nice, it blocked off the Drow Ranger from her other supports, and any real hope of Insolent escaping, it's going to be a pretty clean kill, and much needed one at that for mYinsanity. Doom, even after dying, does now have his Midas online, but no boots, and he has the Doom spell, but I don't expect this to really affect much at all. He doesn't have a Blink Dagger or any clean way to initiate. They can gank the Doom's lane to kill off Hawkeye, but I'm not sure this is really the time. Brewmaster is saving up for the Blink Dagger, so it's going to be a nice kill for sure, but I don't know. This really isn't Doom's time to shine. He gets a lot of gold fairly quickly, but his impact is delayed.
He needs, at the very least, another hero here if he's going to be getting any kills, especially versus Brewmaster, a very tanky hero. All Eyes on Me rotation down to the bottom lane does let Doom now have an opening, especially with a Shaker here as well. But Brewmaster seems to know that something is going on. In the meantime, top lane is going to be arrows onto Mitch, who's going to take quite a bit of damage. Does blink away to safety. Gust not quite long enough lasting. And will be Queen of Pain making a clean escape. But they're going to jump down towards bottom. Hawkeye now doomed with quite a bit of damage flowing towards him from the Skywrath Mage. They need a little bit more, but it looks like that should be enough. Hawkeye should tick down from the rest of this, but here comes Kikoni. Shackle's gonna be thrown, not gonna latch onto Joey, even though there are so many freaking trees here. Joey's still gonna be chased down with phase boots on the Wind Ranger and boots on Joey. 30 HP survives. Looks like that's gonna be a clean escape. In the meantime, Pure Evil's gonna run to All Eyes on Me. This is a support Venge versus core Scarith Mage. This is not a fight that Venge can win, and she will go down. Kikoni is very swiftly moving forward, but she needs to land a Shackle if she's going to actually get that kill to happen, and All Eyes on Me taking quite a bit of damage. Power shot, not gonna land. And it's actually going to be on top lane where Mitch and, yes, Peace are going to be able to get the kill onto Drow Ranger. That was just a couple of clean kills from mYinsanity, with Kikoni trying desperately to find something in return. He's almost going to kill off All Eyes on Me, but almost doesn't quite cut it.
No, it doesn't. Brewmaster actually survives on 10 HP to that Doom damage, just not enough. And, well, up top, it was a Fissure Block on a Ranger. 3 fights pretty much breaking out at almost the same time. TP back to the tower coming up from Dro will repel Mitch. But even though this game is looking a lot more even, it still could go either way. It's a slight lead for mYinsanity in the gold department, but not significant. Mitch will blink away out from top. The Gust, it's only level 1 and doesn't really silence for that long. I'm not sure if I like this build choice coming out from Insolent, to be honest. The 3 points in Frost Arrows this game don't really seem to be impactful enough. Scarith Mage bumps into the Lich, and Poison is going to be dropped down to 1 more auto attack. Even though the Mystic Flare didn't get the full duration off, it's still going to be plenty to kill off a support.
It just seems like Komanda Minus are not respecting the damage potential of this Scarith Mage. Like, yeah, he died twice to your Wind Ranger in the mid lane. That doesn't mean he's completely out of the game. He's now level 6, he has a Mystic Flare, and he's able to solo kill pretty much anyone on the Komanda Minus side, assuming he lands a couple of skills and assuming he has a full-ish mana pool. So Komanda Minus, they really have to be careful of this hero and give him the respect that he really deserves. He's capable of 100-0 in your team. You got to play like that. Yes, Peace is going to be in a little bit of trouble down towards bottom lane because the Vengeful Spirit is behind this area with Hawkeye in the area as well, though he doesn't have a way to get through this tree line. He is going to split. Now the body block attempt from Pure Evil, it's going to do a little bit, but this split looks like it's going to do less than nothing as the Brewmaster is going to try to run through. We get some scouting information, but that's not really too relevant. It's going to be doomed to run into Pure Evil, and Brewmaster survived it last time. I don't think Pure Evil is going to survive it this time. And yeah, Pure Evil is almost doomed, assured to fall right now, and he will go down. It's just another kill for the mYinsanity side, even pulling out the Brewmaster's ultimate for it.
Yeah. I think the biggest issue for Komanda Minus right now is that even though Kikoni's having a good time in mid, for the most part, he's 1v0 since the Scarith Mage has been roaming very heavily. Now he's going to Concussive Shot and Silence, but no follow-up except for an Arcane Bolt. It's going to be annoying for him. Potentially looking for a Shackle. With the Power Shot, it's not going to land onto All Eyes on Me. Kikoni's dropping way too low. The Arcane Bolt, Soul Assumption the second time. It is going to be fatal. He can do nothing but watch himself fall. The Scarith Mage is going to die, but in the meantime, Vengeful Spirit as well as Dro die to the Queen of Pain and Earthshaker.
Man, a double kill for Mitch up towards top. I was apparently watching the wrong fight. This is Queen of Pain showing off her Sonic Wave and showing out the burst power of her combination. And Komanda Minus, as we said previously, very, very soft, as pretty much Brewmaster has been dodging the Queen of Pain for this entire game. Everyone else from Komanda Minus have not been having a good time. Even with Drow Ranger going for such a heavy stat build, it's, all into the agility, so it's not really going to be helping her that much in that regard. Insolent is going to still be able to put out a lot of damage. But the maxed out Frost Arrows, you mentioned you didn't like it. I really don't like it up against the Queen of Pain. It just really doesn't make that much sense. Like, sure, she's not going to be running very fast, but she doesn't really need to run very fast because it's a Queen of Pain. So any additional points in Aura or initial point of Gust even, that could have made a little bit of difference around the map, especially in those mid lane squabbles. But instead, it's going to be mYinsanity with a 5-kill lead.
And now up into the Portrait Ranger again, an Arcane Bolt flies, and it's going to drop Insolent low. In the meantime, Shackle into both Eyes on Me and Mitch. It is going to be the end of both of their lives. It's Insolent taking down to the Queen of Pain's poison damage. I think that's going to be lethal unless she gets some extra bonus. No, actually, it's not. It's only 1 point into it. I thought there was 2. Never mind. Ranger is going to be just fine.
Alright, so finally the reinforcements arrives for Komanda Minus at the right time, landing a 2-man Shackle Shot, and then I don't really care who you are, your attempts at aggression are probably going to be stopped cold. Speaking of aggression, Hawkeye down towards bottom has his split and wants to go for Doom once again. This is a maxed out Scorch Earth Doom. Even with the split landing, I don't know if they have quite enough to kill him off unless they want to engage with the Chain Frost. They will throw it out. The damage is not quite going to be there. Now Poison is going to be the one to drop first. Fissure is going to fly, put Joey into a corner, but the Brewlings are falling mighty quick. Now the Earth one is the only one to survive, and Brewmaster, I don't believe, has a Blink Dagger to get out of this. He will resume his main form, now trying to TP out, Any additional stuns at all? No stuns, actually. Hawkeye will live in that situation, but going for a Doom kill like that, that's mighty bold from Komanda minus.
Definitely, and it's a Midas build for Komanda minus. Kikoni, I'm not sure if this is really going to be the game for a Midas on the Wind Ranger. She does scale decently well with items, but this is really where I like to see Wind Ranger start playing super aggressively. Fissure in mid, going to land under the Wind Ranger, but she'll be able to run that one off. Even without the draw damage, Familiars are still really good, and I think it's one of the reasons why I've kind of forgot about Visage. I think he should be seeing a little bit more play than he has been as of late, other than just with Drow or as a counter pick.
It's just mostly just how impressive he is with Drow that people kind of forget that he's still a good hero without her because of the difference there. But yeah, he is still capable of doing quite a bit of damage, and now with such burst on the mYinsanity side, you're going to be able to fill up that soul assumption meter extremely quickly. Just with Mitch jumping in with one spell cast, Sonic Wave or a Scream of Pain, you're going to be hitting for a full damage or near full damage soul assumption. All Eyes on Me can do something very similar. So the Visage at this point is just another large nuke in mYinsanity's arsenal. And Komanda minus, what survivability tools do they have right now? They have a swap up, which is, I suppose, sometimes very nice, but aside from that, there's no mech or pipe or any one of those items on the K minus side, so they're just gonna have to rely on good positioning to take the lead. And well, it's going to be a smoke for them, but they accidentally popped 2 smokes, so they better get twice as many kills.
We'll have to see. They might be able to get this Scarth Mage, but scouted out by Familiars, he is going to be jumped on by the Brewmaster. He's going to need to silence in a Mystic Flare, but it doesn't matter. The damage to a Wind Ranger is too much. His Scarth Mage didn't really stand much of a chance up against 4 heroes. He is still very squishy, even though he's level 8.
So these pickoffs and small skirmishes are pretty much exactly what Komanda minus need to do to avoid the huge amount of burst potential. If they always get the stuns on the Wind Ranger or initiation from Hawkeye, then they're going to be in a much better situation. They're going to try to defend their bottom lane, but this is going to be still 4 very powerful heroes from mYinsanity. So if Komanda minus want to take this, they have to take it off of either the perfect Blink Clap split, which is very unlikely given Doombringer, or a 2-man Shackle Shot. I don't think anything else is really going to fly.
We'll see if they're going to be able to pull it together. I have my doubts, but they do have the Chain Frost available from the Lich. It is currently a 3v4 exchange. Queen of Pain the only one missing for mYinsanity at the moment. She's farming up top. And for Mitch, it is going to be an Orchid build this game. Doesn't feel cornered going for the BKB, and after a start like this, it's looking really good. I wouldn't have known that this Queen of Pain started out in the off lane. With 60 CS and 4 kills to her name, it looks like she's a pretty hefty snowballing Queen of Pain.
And when you pick up that Orchid, you're going to be able to get solo kills. I think she's already capable of getting solo kills, so I guess I should say getting solo kills a lot easier. So yeah, Queen of Pain has definitely recovered from her very slow start up towards top. And well, to be fair, I guess Komanda minus were unable to put a lot of kill potential on her just because they lacked the disables, they lacked the crowd control. So even though Queen of Pain wasn't farming as best as she possibly would like, she was still not in any danger of really dying. It is going to still be bottom lane. Komanda minus going to run to Yes Piece. Oh, yeah, Poison, you saw him. There you go. There's an Earthshaker there, but here comes Familiars. And all of a sudden, Poison is way in over his head. He actually can't move. Yes Piece is going to try to TP out. Shackle Shot's going to land, and then a swap, which is going to make that Shackle Shot ridiculously shackly. And that will get the kill onto the Earthshaker. But in the meantime, middle lane, we have a rainbow of TPs coming in. Nice 2-man Gust with a 2-man clap as well. They're going to try to focus down Mitch with the Magic Missile. They will be able to take down the Queen of Pain. Now onto Joey, who's going to turn around for a Doom onto Insolent. Restrict the damage output for sure, but he's going to try to fight to the death. And well, the death is going to come a lot faster for him than anyone else. It's going to be 3 kills for Komanda minus across the map. And that suddenly tied up the game.
Yeah, after the momentum seemingly going mYinsanity's favor, they just get a little too comfortable, and Komanda minus pull off a nice initiation where they're able to get all of their spells in together, and the Queen of Pain probably didn't expect to die there. Not the tankiest of heroes, and there's still a lot of damage on Komanda minus. The Drought are currently giving everybody 40 with the Aquila and Wraith bands, and on top of that, now we have a Yasha flying out to Insolent.
So it's going to be at the very least 50-ish with that Yasha, and she also has one more level of that aura to go. So 45 with the Yasha, and then should be about 50 with the additional point in that aura. So everyone's hitting pretty darn hard. And not only that, but it's also going to be Vengeful Spirit, who's eventually going to get a couple more points in her aura as well. So Komanda minus, they are going to have all the damage that they could possibly ask for. Again, it's going to be survivability where they are going to suffer, But if they could take small skirmishes where they always crowd control, always silence the Queen of Pain, always land those shackles, then it's not really going to matter since they will have free reign of the map. Bottom lane, Brewmaster just trying to kill off some familiars. Not going to happen really there, but it's over towards mid where mYinsanity are pushing at Komanda Minus. This is the type of fight that they really want to avoid. Let's see if they actually want to engage here, or they're just going to let the tower fall. I'm not too surprised at that.
Yeah. Windranger now with a Maelstrom, Kokoni is able to put a lot of damage out with the Focus Fire, currently only level 2, but with the extra Dro Aura, that's a very significant damage threat. Still, neither team really has great tools into pushing into the enemy side, except for Komanda Minus with their auras. They can do a lot of damage, but getting those towers is another story. mYinsanity, it seems like they're going to be able to hold pretty much indefinitely until they take a major fight, which might not be for some time unless somebody oversteps their bounds. Mitch, still waiting on his Orchid, is quite a long ways away from it after dying once. But the tier 1 tower down in bottom might not be so lucky. It is going to be pressured by the creep wave as well as the Queen of Pain. And at best, I think this is going to be a tower deny for Komanda Minus.
Yeah, well, K- also get one familiar down already. It looks like they're going to get a second as well, so at least they get something out of this. It is all heroes down in the bottom lane, so no one is getting any additional farm or anything like that. Kokoni is going to throw a shackle, which will not land onto Mitch. So that could be the wave that Komanda Minus really want to start the fights. Hawkeye doesn't want to be the first one to blink clap in just because he will get silenced. So Kokoni is going to be spamming out those shackles, and Kokoni actually doesn't have that much mana sustain, only a bottle. So if this situation lasts for a very long time, eventually Komanda Minus are going to start to run dry on mana, whereas mYinsanity, they're not really spending any mana because they're just right-clicking creep waves.
Yeah, and they also have a decent amount of arcane boots between them. One on the Earthshaker, actually just one pair of arcane boots, never mind. But yeah, it doesn't really matter. Komanda Minus do have the option of denying this tower at their leisure, but for now they're going to keep defending it since, I don't know, there's no real reason to stop it. I think just take away that tower, and there you go. Everybody's going to decide against it. Dro Ranger denies the tower, and everybody's going to go back into their respective lanes and farm up again.
Or are they? Komanda Minus smoking up. Just one this time, so they're going to look for a jump in. It's going to be Mitch, who's probably in the most trouble right now, but blinking away from a magic missile certainly is possible if you see it coming. So far, the smoke's still maintaining, and it's going to be mYinsanity smoking up as well, but this is a 4 versus 5 smoke, and I don't know, you do the math there. I like Komanda Minus's odds, especially when Lizard's going to get blown smoke from the behind, and it's going to be a shackle landing. Very nice Fissure, but I don't know if that's going to be quite enough as Visage does take the first fall. Pure Evil in the meantime is going to hit with a full Mystic Flare, is going to slip out of there just barely as they try to go for the Queen of Pain, but she will slip out of there alive. Pure Evil still alive from the Skywrath Mage. The Brewmaster still on the hunt. Yes, Peace is going to be found and cornered. Literally cannot run anywhere, but where are the rest of the Komanda Minus heroes? They're trying to kill off the Skywrath Mage who TP'd out. Insolent is going to stay alive from the Doom, and now the Focus Fire from Kokoni doing so much damage. Hawkeye will kill off the Brewmaster, the Earthshaker in the meantime. Blink out from Mitch. Power shot just short of that Queen of Pain, but still Komanda Minus take a 3-for-0. Unless Insolent dies to this final bird, it looks like that should be the end of it. They still take a really good fight, and mYinsanity may be a little bit too scattered for that one.
I think that's fair. The damage coming out from Komanda Minus is insane, and even though mYinsanity have some decent defensive tools, they all kind of need to be there, and they're still waiting on some major items to be built on both the Doom and the Queen of Pain. There is a Blink Dagger on the Doom, so he can pretty reliably get off that Doom spell, but for the rest of his items, he's gone for more of an Aura build. Drums, Basilius, potentially even going into a Vlad's this game wouldn't be a bad option at all for his team. But still, they're not fighting at full potential, and right now Komanda Minus, even in a 5-5 engagement, I think they're favored unless Hawkeye gets doomed before the split.
Yeah, mYinsanity, the Vlads would be a huge help for them, but, you know, for Doom, you just need, like, as much armor as you can get. Just get a plate mail, man, because he got demolished by that Windranger. It's a level 2 ultimate, and though Maelstrom is magic damage, it's still the physical of the plus 43 that is going to be doing the damage. Now Kokoni's going to be jumped, swapped out, might buy enough time to survive as Pure Evil is for sure going to go down here. Insolent's going to teleport in. Pure Evil is going to die, and Kokoni, I think, is going to be denied by Insolent. Don't mess it up, Drow. Don't mess it up. There we go. Windranger is dead, and so is the Venge, but it's only 1 kill for mYinsanity, and that was an opportunity to get a little bit more than that.
Definitely. And Windranger down, it's going to be annoying for them, and it might get them some significant damage on this tier 2 tower, but I don't think it's going to lose them that much. There is no buyback on the Windranger. She didn't really have that much gold to begin with after that death.
This is going to be a very tough fight for Komanda Minus to take without that Windranger. They need that stun at the very least, and Vengeful Spirit kind of the same way. it's not going to be a fully committed fight for mYinsanity, so they will disengage, and maybe now Komanda Minus are going to find themselves an opportunity with Hawkeye near to the Earthshaker. He's going to look for a clap, but I don't think he's quite fast enough, especially with the Fissure turnaround. However, there's another Blink Dagger cooling down. Hawkeye is just stuck there. He can't move up that hill. That's actually kind of surprising.
Yeah, Brewmaster's pretty fat, Beer Belly getting into this way, so Hawkeye is going to be forced back to the rest of his team, and Earthshaker makes a clean retreat. That is one of those spells that every once in a while there's some questionable fissures that probably shouldn't block you, but they end up doing, kind of like Shackle Shot. There are, I don't know, just every once in a while those hackle shots that go either crazy angles or ridiculous lengths. Queen of Pain is going to be scouting out with some illusions and does spot the whereabouts of quite a few of the enemy heroes. But we're kind of stalled out at this moment. Neither team really feels comfortable in taking engagement after that smoking.
And this game is actually a lot more in favor, just numerically, for Komanda Minus than I really would have expected. It feels like mYinsanity have all the initiative. They're going to be calling all the shots, and they're the ones that have to be stopped. But Komanda Minus actually have an experience lead that's quite hefty. I guess mostly because of the early laning stage, also because of this hand of Midas on Kikoni, but for whatever reason, it's still Komanda Minus with a very slight gold lead, but a very vast experience lead. It doesn't feel like it's working too well for them, though, and that's mostly just in the fault of their draft. If they had, not as a glass cannon-y draft, then maybe this experience lead would be a lot more tangible, but as it stands right now, they're still technically ahead.
Yeah, I don't know, it's very different from the game one where we saw when they're able to get that advantage and then completely mow over the enemy team. This game they just need to be very careful because mYinsanity also have their core items coming online and have a decent amount of damage as well, and when you're dealing with heroes that can actually survive through the burst at least for a little bit longer, with the plate mail now picked up by Doom, I believe he is actually completely sold to Basilius. He is going to survive through a decent chunk of that damage, and if he gets up in the face of the Drow, canceling out that aura is going to be really nice for them. With a couple of lucky crits, Doom does a pretty good amount of physical damage as well.
Yeah, the Drow Ranger does have a lot of armor herself, so she's going to be relatively safe to the right clicks of mYinsanity, but really Doom doesn't even have to get that kill. As long as he cancels out the aura, then he's going to be pretty much doing his job, or canceling out the marksmanship rather, as you can't cancel out the aura fully. So yeah, that's going to be very easy for mYinsanity to do, and if they do somehow make it happen, then the entirety of Komanda Minus are suddenly doing kind of uninspiring amounts of damage, at least when you compare them to the amount of damage they're putting out right now, which is quite frankly pretty gross, and plus 53 with the Precision aura, and then you also have the Avenge aura on top of that as well. So everyone pretty much has a free Sacred Relic, so, I wouldn't be too unhappy about that.
Yeah, pass them out, just like candy. Usually you don't think of like Lich and Vengeful Spirit as doing that much damage, especially Vengeful Spirit not run in a core position, but this game, any bit that they're able to get out is huge. Vengeful Spirit effectively has double damage all the time, which is really cool for them. They're going to pick up the BKB on Insolent, now go into the Roshan pit, which is honestly a move that I expected Komanda Minus to go for a lot earlier. No Radiant Vision around this pit, or even close. Their closest ward is in mid. So they probably don't know this is immediately going on, although the lane down in bottom not being farmed might get a little fishy. It's just too fast of a Roshan to really contest.
Which is like one Wind Run from the Wind Ranger, and she takes no damage from Roshan, and then a Focus Fire as well. Roshan dead in, what, like 15 seconds, absolutely maximum. So Komanda Minus finding a very easy additional portion of golden experience in that, and not to mention the double life onto Insolent. Though Drow Ranger is still very, very soft, it is possible for mYinsanity to kill her off, kill the rest of her team off, and then kill the Drow Ranger off again. It's going to be a little bit more delicate for them, and suddenly Doom on the Drow Ranger not looking that great, since Insolent, once he does get doomed, is just going to stay and fight and actually try to die so that she can get back up quicker with the Aegis. So this might let Komanda Minus look for a couple of opportunities. Maybe they're going to go for a tier 1 tower push. Are they really strong enough for that, though?
I'm not exactly sure. If they get a pick off beforehand, that's a completely different story. But yeah, I don't know. This Drow Ranger, talking a little bit more about it, the physical damage coming up from mYinsanity is pretty limited to the familiars, and once those are gone, if they commit both Doom and familiars to Drow Ranger, once she pops the BKB, she can pretty much roam throughout the fight. So I think Insolent, usually you don't think of Drow Ranger as sitting on the front lines. This fight might be the exception, as nobody else really can take that role. Brewmaster's going to jump in and run distraction for the Drow, but she's going to be the one just blinking away at the towers and begging mYinsanity to do something about it. Tier 1 tower up top is going to go fallen uncontested.
And mYinsanity, they're going to try to make a trade as bottom lane, mid lane are both being pushed pretty hard, but certainly not as hard as the way Komanda Minus are doing it. They're going to teleport back, and it looks like they're not going to actually lose anything. That's actually going to feel pretty good for Komanda Minus. They take a tower without any sort of response from mYinsanity, so the read I would get out of that is, hey, my enemies are scared of defending. I might as well try to go for additional tower, and look at that. There's a bottom lane tier 1 that's about at the same amount of starting HP as the top, so Komanda Minus should be going for that one as well, just because they took the top lane so easily. And mYinsanity, they're trying to get a little bit of split push going, I suppose, but it's certainly not going to be enough to pressure back Komanda Minus. They're very good at killing off towers at this point.
Yeah. Doom is going to pick up a completed Shiva's guard, but Joey's items aren't in and of themselves going to carry this game, and the Orchid on the Queen of Pain hasn't really done much at all. The solo kills haven't been coming out for her, and inside the team fight she silenced Wind Ranger a couple of times, but even then Kikoni wasn't focused down, so I don't think that matters. And now with the BKB on Wind Ranger, I think this Orchid is pretty dead for the Queen of Pain. In fact, she's only been involved in 1 kill after completing it.
Well, now she has a BKB, so even though she may not be able to solo kill people, she will be able to stick in those fights for just a little while longer. We see a gem being picked up by the Komanda Minus side, and a little bit of a failed counter warding, but they will now try to get a little bit more map control so that they can move a little more aggressively around the map. Vengeful Spirit, though, is very easy to bring down, so this gem can very easily switch hands.
Yeah, we'll just have to see if it is going to do so. Vengeful Spirit currently sitting on a Wraith Band of the Drow Ranger. Honestly, I think it's probably just better to sell it than to keep holding on to it, as Drow probably has better items to fill those slots with eventually. But tier 1 tower down and bottom is going to be taken, but meantime tier 2 up top is going to be dropped very low by Mitch and a couple of range creeps and a catapult. She might actually be able to take this one alone, but if she sticks around too long, maybe Komanda Minus are able to continue this push. Blink forward by Kikoni, hunting for something, but that something is already out of there. They won't be able to find the Earthshaker. He's back in base.
Well, it's a 1-for-1 tower trade so far, but Komanda Minus are going to look to make it a 2-for-1 as they're going to continue this push with everyone doing so much damage. They might as well go for this. They even have the Drow Ranger aura turned on. 2 range creeps only as the creep wave. A random melee creep also joins the fray. Where the hell was he? But they honestly don't really need any creeps here just because Drow Ranger and Wind Ranger, the 2 archers, are going to bring down the tower very easily. Meantime, top lane, Komanda Minus, their towers are being pushed still, but certainly not fast enough to warrant a really desperate response. It is going to be a 2-for-1 tower trade in the end.
Yeah, it does force Komanda Minus back and drops that tier 3 tower down to half, so I think mYinsanity are going to be okay with that trade. The structural damage, even though it's not immediately, whoa, we are going to see a Shackle landing on a yes please, and he is going to fall.
Very easily done by the Wind Ranger. Just a straight blink into a Shackle, and there's not much that you could do there as an Earthshaker. You have no BKB, you don't even have a Blink Dagger yet, 30 minutes into the game. You have no answers, so it's a kill on top of this huge amount of tower gold that's being picked up from Komanda Minus, and now they're going to feel very, very good about themselves as they will be able to pretty much go wherever they want. As long as they're more or less together, they will be able to get objective after objective. And, well, they still have the Aegis, so you might as well keep pushing with that, and it's going to be mid lane where they set their sights.
Yeah, no reason to stop the Aegis. It is going to be surviving, or going back immediately as I check the timer. So Insolent doesn't have the Aegis anymore, so maybe they'll exercise a little bit of caution, but they're still going to try their darndest to take this tier 2 tower. BKB still 10 seconds for Insolent. They can still look to take an engagement as long as he doesn't get doomed immediately. And for now, they are going to make themselves scarce, backing out.
There is invisibility on Mitch, and they have to worry about their top lane, which is still pushing in. Was pushed by Familiars previously, and the Familiars are going to rejoin that push shortly. They are setting up for a trap, however. Mitch is going to be walking right into a gem. Mitch is so dead right now. Magic Missile, Shackle not landing, but a crit from the Brewmaster is going to kill off. Now onto All Eyes on Me. He was there a couple of seconds ago, but now he's really dead. Now Lizard and the SP's got to split up so that they don't get shackled. They will throw a fissure, but Lizard's being focus fired, and now shackled to the tree. He's going to be brought down as well. 3 for 0 so far in favor of Komanda Minus. They set a perfect trap, and Queen of Pain, normally you're safe when you're in an invisibility rune like that, but just one of those times, man. One of those times.
Yeah, it does cost them 2 BKB charges, but that's what they're there for, to win fights. And now Blink No, Kikoni's just going to go forward to Midas a creep. There you go. Tier 2 tower and mid's going to fall after this, and it is the strength of having so much damage on all of your heroes. You're able to take the structures after winning a fight. Duranger's farming up top and counter-pushing that wave effectively on top of it. So Komanda Midas come out with a big lead ahead of it. Now Brewmaster with the Vladimir is offering. Usually you like to see Aghanim Scepter on Brewmaster, but I think this game is the exception. That extra damage is going to be really nice, especially for the Dro.
Yeah, so more damage for everyone. It's not like Komanda Minus really needed it, but you're never going to be too upset that you're doing too much damage. So Brewmaster maybe won't even go for that build at all. Like, it's not completely unheard of to go for a more battle Brewmaster build where you go for these types of auras, maybe pick up an Assault Cuirass, and then later down the line go for an Abyssal Blade or something along those lines. So maybe Hawkeye is going to approach the game like this, as Aghanim Scepter, though it may be good, the later you get it, the worse it gets for Brewmaster.
Yeah, fair enough. Windranger, now picking up the Aghanim Scepter. This is actually a super significant pick. Mostly because she has the Maelstrom, so not going to have the reduced proc chance, and then she also has the Precision Aura, 100% damage on a 15-second cooldown. She's going to be able to burst down anybody on the side of mYinsanity, even with like a Shiva's Guard completed on Doom. Doesn't matter. Kikoni's going to be hitting for 250 thereabouts, especially if she has the Vladimir's Aura on top of it, and the Vengeful Spirit Aura.
And the minus armor and all these other things. An equally significant item for mYinsanity picked up is the Blink Dagger on the Earthshaker, which has so far remained undetected from the Komanda Minus side. So they are still very soft, and even though they have BKBs, a Blinking Echo Slam is near impossible to defend against, and it might actually get shown off right now in the bottom lane. Insolent and Hawkeye bumping up just a little bit. They're going to initiate upon Doom onto Hawkeye. Swap out instantly from Pure Evil. Now a Gust, but Pure Evil is more or less dead already. Insolent going deep just by himself. Going to try to take out this Earthshaker. Now trying to TP out. Will be going down. That's 2 down for Komanda Minus. They take a very poor fight because they did not expect to get initiated upon that quickly. Now onto Poison. Mitch diving deep for this Lich. He's going to try to hide in the trees, but I don't really think there's an escape here. Screaming Pain's going to kill him off as well. That's a 3 for now. Here comes Kikoni and Hawkeye back from the AFK state. Mitch is going to get shackled to a tree. Will blink out of there just fine. Kikoni, power shot quickly. We'll get a wicked 6 streak. Now onto Yes Piece. He is spotted out right next to All Eyes on Me. If they get a read on where these 2 support heroes are, they will be able to take him out, but instead they're chasing for Lizard. That's also a good way to go. No, they're going to turn around, and now actually the Brewmaster is going to see everyone's there. Kikoni's going to finish off the Visage in the meantime, but now he's completely isolated from the rest of his team. Has no one close to help him out. He's going to get silenced, but he already has the wind run out. It's not going to matter versus the Mystic Flare, but he will survive for a little while longer. The Scorched Earth will bring down the Wind Ranger, and mYinsanity just have a feeding frenzy down in this bottom lane. Hello?
Oh, most of that's due to... I'm not sure exactly what happened, but my mic apparently was muted. Okay, so yeah, Jordan dives into the backlines trying to focus down some supports and ends up just getting demolished by the Visage Familiars. Definitely the MVPs for me in that last fight. The physical damage was enough to take down the Dro, even though she had a BKB. 1400 HP at this point in the game is not the greatest, and it's going to cost Komanda Minus a lot of their damage and a really scrappy fight.
And that's really the difference of Komanda Minus taking a fight where they're on the aggressive and they get initiated upon, because you had to start the fight with getting a swap out. You had a Fissure blocking the entirety of that fight, and Insolent from the very start of that fight was diving very deep for those kills and ended up losing her aura because she was a little bit too close to everyone. So Drow Ranger getting brought down so quickly and suddenly everyone on your team not doing that much damage. Komanda Minus, they kind of bring it back a little bit with Hawkeye and the Wind Ranger arriving. Hawkeye surviving through the entirety of that Doom, but certainly a little bit too little, a little bit too late. And now Hawkeye is going to get jumped once again over towards mid. Echo Slam even going to be committed. Chain Frost on the Yes Piece is going to make it a 1-for-1 trade. And now the Chain Frost still bouncing through. Pure Evil is going to get silenced, but the Chain Frost is dissuading mYinsanity very heavily from chasing forward. Mitch will go regardless. Look for Pure Evil, will miss the scream. It looks like that will just be a 1-for-1 trade. Brewmaster split wasn't even up though. They're going to initiate with a nice initiation onto Kikoni. Shackle onto 2. Scarth Mage and Lizard both to fall. And that's the initiation that Komanda Minus really wanted. Now chasing forward for more. They should not be able to find anyone. But man, 2-man shackle shots, and those can instantly win you fights. Now onto Mitch. Unfortunately, that one's not going to land, but Komanda Minus, they have a numbers advantage right now. They might want to poke at the high ground because they seem like to be in a kind of desperate situation.
We'll have to see whether or not Komanda Minus are going to be able to accomplish that. They'd love to get Roshan, and lucky enough for them, that spawns immediately with Medallion as well as minus armor coming out from the Vengeful Spirit, and just the raw damage. 1 Focus Star should be enough to kill this one off, and Wind Ranger is absolutely trucking. And Ranger's not even clicking the Roshan, she's not in the Roshan. Kikoni pretty much soloed that.
So good job, Wind Ranger. She's apparently very, very damaging if she could stay with the rest of her team. And it looks like they're going to try to go for the Familiars. Will be resummoned. So they know that that ultimate is going to be down. So Familiar is going to be a little bit higher priority for the next couple of minutes. But still, it's going to be an Aegis for Kokoni. And I think this is probably the right way to go. Wind Ranger is able to go deep for those kills. And even though Drow Ranger might like to go for those, it's a lot safer if she stays in the back and you have Kokoni being all suicidal.
Yeah, sit in the back lines, wait for them to come to you, gust them back, BKB, and just try to keep alive. I think her staying alive in the fights is more important than her ramboing and picking off a single support. Insolent, although she can do a lot of damage, it's better if she just lets Wind Ranger do all the heavy lifting. And well, for now, Wind Ranger is going to be able to do that. Also, we are going to see Kokoni getting very close to maxing out his items. Although he has the Aegis on top of this replace, he probably is going to pick up a Mjolnir sometime soon.
Alright, so we got Mjolnir, and then what do you go for as the last item for Wind Ranger? Do you just go for something straight up damage, MKB, or do you even go for something like a Sheep Stick?
I would like to see the Hex. I think with the Blink Dagger, it's just too good to pass up a Blink Scythe initiation, and for Wind Ranger, that's going to give her a decent sum of damage anyway, since she is an intelligence hero, and I don't think she's lacking in the damage department, and it's unlikely that mYinsanity are going to be getting any evasion.
Well, for right now, it's going to be pure evil. Scout out. He will not know that Yes Piece is right next to him, so he might think there's someone invisible. It will not be a fight just yet, but yeah, I think the Hex is probably the best way to go. Blink Shackle, as great as it is by no means guaranteed to land. Hex is guaranteed to land unless you fat finger something, so it's a much safer way to initiate the fights, and Komanda Minus, they really need to start these fights on their own terms, and not like that. Like, having your Vengeful Spirit getting sniped out like that is not the greatest way to start a fight.
Definitely. All Vengeful Spirit wanted to do was forward, and she's going to be punished dearly for it as she gets blocked by Fissure, Silence, Mystic Flared. Vengeful Spirit eats the whole barrage of mYinsanity spells, and that's apparently a lot, so that's going to be the end of her life. But Vengeful Spirit, fairly low level, at least for this point in the game, 14. One of the lower on the map, is going to be respawning soon enough, and probably won't be forced to buy back. Tier 2 towers have already been taken up in top, so mYinsanity don't have anything to push there, and for now, it's going to stall out.
Well, there's 4,400 gold on Wind Ranger. I would actually like to see this Lich get a little bit more farm, because he's already packing the Cloak. If they somehow, Komanda Minus, find themselves with enough cash to pick up a Pipe, then that could really start, be a heavy benefit to them. BKBs are nice on, the Drow Ranger and Wind Ranger, but everyone else on the Komanda Minus side, they're just getting chewed up by random magical damage that's flying left and right, so they need more of those types of items, and I don't really know if they're going to find the time for it, because top lane is being pushed. Ice Armor is going to hold this tower for a little bit longer, but mYinsanity is certainly looking for an angle in. Doombringer way in the back, though, has picked up his Aghanim Scepter, so he's maybe going to be set up for Kokoni right now. Kokoni's going to walk right into vision range, and well, mYinsanity, they're not going to jump on the Wind Ranger.
Surprisingly, too. On a little bit of a side note, does Windrun have a new sound?
I don't think so.
Okay, I might just be hearing things. Scarith Mage over in the woods. They shouldn't know that Scarith Mage is here unless an awkward power shot gives vision. It looks like All Eyes on Me is going to avoid any detection and is going to survive. And yeah, Komanda Minus are going to just pass over him as he's currently just chilling inside the woods.
Yeah, he has a TP out.
Chivas. Doom onto the Drow Ranger, but Insolent is going to survive. Doom can't do that solo, so Doom on cooldown.
It's not the longest cooldown in the world, 90 seconds only, so that's going to be 90 seconds where Komanda Minus are going to be able to push very aggressively and pretty much guarantee their Brewmaster his split.
Actually, that was an Aghanim's Doom. Doom probably could have gotten that kill if he just got an extra pulse or two.
Well, poor Doom. I mean, he's now going to lose a tier 2 tower because of that slight misplay. Maybe he just didn't realize that everyone from Komanda Minus were on the top lane. Maybe he could... I mean, there's 2 tier 2 towers there. You could assume that you're going to be running into support, so maybe it was just a tactical decision to fall back. So I don't really blame him for falling back there.
Fair enough. Right now, it's, again, just a game where neither team really seems to have any clear options in order to do something, and if either team wins a convincing team fight, taking the structures is going to be very easy, so I definitely understand them being hesitant. Doom jumps up to the high ground, this time without the Doom spell. Shackle doesn't latch, and the Focus Fire isn't going to do very much of anything. Now focusing into Yes Please. Yes Please is going to be brought down very quickly. Now Poison focused by Mitch. Force Staff over to the cliff, trying for a TP out. The Scream Pain, or rather the ultimate coming out from Mitch, is going to deny that away from the Lich. 1-for-1 support trade is all that's going to be. But now the Brewmaster coming back into his normal form, blinking over to the side. It's going to be chased by the Concussion Shot. The Gift Vision looking for something to cancel his TP. He is going to be dropped by the Familiars and then dropped by Death as he pops his BKB and loses an extra second on that to boot.
So I'm pretty sure Komanda Minus didn't expect to get initiated upon like that, but still, where was the Drow Ranger in that? Where was the Vengeful Spirit? You need all 5 of your heroes if you're going to go that far down a lane. So maybe if Komanda Minus actually had their full 5-man team there, they could have made something happen, but instead they took a fight that was pretty much just 3 versus 5, or 3 versus 4 rather, and I don't really know if I like those odds. So Komanda Minus, again, making a little bit of a mistake in how they approach these fights. They, at the very least, need numbers. I mean, that's very easy to do as well. It's not like Insolent had a pressing matter. It's not like his base was being pushed.
Yeah. And that's also going to give mYinsanity a little bit more gold towards their big items. Doom getting closer towards a refresher. Side device picked up by the Queen of Pain, and that is delivered now on the courier. mYinsanity, they're getting a lot of room where they probably shouldn't be. Komanda Minus are very close to getting a 6-slotted Wind Ranger, and honestly, Kikoni, spend that gold. It's 8,000, quite honestly absurd. It's doing nothing inside your bank, but it is going to be a scythe for the Wind Ranger. Boots of Travel as well. He can afford to go for these items, but as I was saying, Wind Ranger not the scariest of carries, especially if you get doomed, and once the refresher dooms come out, Joey's going to be running the fights if they're able to get the jump with Komanda Minus, smoke up all of the heroes with Komanda Minus. It's going to pop is on the sidelines. Hawkeye is going to be scythed up, but the Mystic Flare is going to do a lot of damage to Insolent as the Echo Slam onto 2. Lich ultimate bouncing back and forth from Yes Please, but now over to the creeps. Poison's being focused down by the physical damage. If nothing else, the Arcane Bolts was doing him. Blink at the sidelines. Mitch cleans up 2 after the Scream Pain for 1. Orchid on the Hawkeye can't get any spells off, and now with the Familiar drops, Hawkeye is going to be the next to fall. And they also tag Wind Ranger with that Fissure. It's going to be a triple kill for Mitch and a full 5-man wipe where Komanda Minus getting nothing.
BKBs, man. You gotta get those BKBs up for any team fight, let alone this one where Komanda Minus are inherently so soft. They get shut down by Mystic Flare Echo Slam combination. Mitch goes wild in that fight, and they open up with a Doom onto the Wind Ranger very early as well. And Wind Ranger made the crucial mistake of buying out for a Sheep Stick, which I don't even think she used. Now she doesn't have buyback. Now this is going to be Komanda Minus losing Raxes because the only person who can defend is going to be the Drow Ranger, and what could she do about this? So all it takes is one bad fight for Komanda Minus where they don't have their BKBs up in the right time, where they get initiated upon by the Earthshaker, and all of a sudden they're looking at a 2-Rax deficit, if not just outright losing the game right now.
Yeah, it's not going to be Mega Creeps because the tier 2 tower in mid is still standing, but Drow Ranger doesn't want to spend this buyback, and there wouldn't really be anything to do even if she did buy back. That's 2 melee barracks going the way, ranged barracks going to fall the creeps down in bottom, and even though the ranged barracks survives a little bit longer up top, it's also going to die. That's just 2 clean lanes towards mYinsanity, and they've blown this game wide open. Komanda Minus might be able to split push this out a little further, but after that fight, you now have your completed refresher, or almost completed refresher for Joey as soon as he picks up that Void Stone. And with the double team, I don't think mYinsanity should be losing fights anytime soon. And Komanda Minus, they really need to completely crush mYinsanity to be able to do similar structural damage on their side. If they are able to hold for 1 or 2 major fights, and the second fight being close to mYinsanity's base, they have hope of taking those structures because of the damage they're all able to pull out. But I think it's unlikely that even if they win a fight, they'll all survive.
Yeah, so it's going to be very difficult for Komanda Minus to actually bring this game back. They need to get some perfect initiations off. If they somehow catch someone on mYinsanity off guard with no buybacks, and currently it's only the Skywrath Mage who can actually buy back into the game, then maybe Komanda Minus, with the amount of damage that they're able to put out, could just barrel through and maybe just take the Ancients straight out, but that is an extremely tall order. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen off of a smoke, and I think they have a smoke flying out to them right now. No, it's just a gem, so it's also a good item to have, but it's certainly not the item they need. They're going to go for Roshan, having a double life on Kikoni, having cheese on Insolent. Maybe this could be the difference, but they're going to be jumped upon. mYinsanity know exactly what's happening, and this time the Roshan not dropping nearly as fast as last time. Triple Familiar is going to come in, chain stun Insolent just a little bit, but mYinsanity going to open up his down to 3 evils. Mitch jumps in straight into the BKB. Insolent's going to get doomed. Kikoni, though he's in the BKB as well, is getting bashed by Roshan. Can't do anything right now. It's going to be the Venge to fall first. Now Hawkeye, he can't get the split off, and he's going to drop as well. Those heroes do not have buyback, and Roshan can very easily be taken now by mYinsanity, although They might just want to go down the mid lane and end the game instead. They're going to decide to do both. Komanda minus with only 2 heroes left, though they can buy back their Drought Ranger, have not much of a shot here as Kikoni does get Hex, does land a pretty nice Shackle, but now familiar damage plus Shaker jumping forward for the stuns. Kikoni's going to drop. He does not have a buyback either, and that's GG.
Yeah, not much else to say. It would have been backbreaking if nothing else. That would have been mega creeps, and there's not really a chance for Komanda minus to come back from that. There's your Ancient exploding, and well, we're off to a game number 3. mYinsanity looking a lot stronger in this game number 2, but I think more importantly, Komanda minus just weren't able to put together the strategy that they really had in mind. Even though they got a lot of farm onto Kikoni's Wind Ranger, it didn't feel like those items meant much, or that picking the Wind Ranger really did anything at all. Wind Ranger did do a lot of damage at the end of the game with their build, but I don't know, they just needed some sort of frontline tank, and Brewmaster didn't cut it.
Yeah, so Komanda minus picking up a glass cannon lineup, and that glass just got shattered. mYinsanity bring it to a game 3, guys, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on HeflaTV Hitbox 1.